As against the grain as it might seem for a fantasy suite or overnight suite, is no sex.
Fantasy suites are just around the corner, and in this week's preview, we get a little promo of what's to come, and I cannot wait. But before we dive in, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that little bell for notification. I'm Kayla Galloway, and I'm joined here with Kayla number 2 or Kayla number 1, either way. We can switch off on numbers. Kayla Thompson, how are you?
I'm good, KG. First of all, happy birthday. Happy big
Thank
3.
you.
Oh, I'm going to celebrate you. We're not going to have we're going to have a party that you're 30, okay? This is going to be an amazing year for you. I'm super excited to talk about this preview of Fantasy Suites. I mean, it's a huge week. I can't believe we're even getting this little tidbit this early, so I'm excited.
I know, same. I feel like they don't normally, they have the big what's to come, but having Fantasy Suites a little tease so early, I can't wait. And let's dive into the first clip because I have thoughts.
This week is viewed as sex week. As against the grain as it might seem for a fantasy suite or overnight suite, is no sex.
Now, this really got me because, past bachelors really get in trouble on Fantasy Suites. I really feel like once Fantasy Suites come, they just get their blinders on. So what do you think, Kayla, of him deciding not to have sex on these Fantasy Suites?
I think he's in for a big test of his, not being tempted, because there's a lot of girls here who I feel like Zach is really into because he has the hots for them above, they're great women. But I think he's super attracted to a lot of them. So I think that's going to be hard for him to hold up. I don't know. But I commend him for, the last Bachelor we had Clayton. It was, obviously the complete opposite. And it kind of started the ball rolling of the whole mess between Susie and Gabby and Rachel. So I think he's trying to, do the opposite and be the best Bachelor he can be. But we'll have to see if he's able to hold up the bargain, because I'm not so.
Yeah, maybe he's learned something from Clayton, but we've seen, I think he kissed the most people on night 1, right? And we've really seen him be so affectionate throughout this season. I think him and Gabby even talked, he's a kisser, she's a cuddler, but I feel like this is going to be a really big test for him since we have seen him be so touchy-feely. I think it's really interesting that Zach is kind of having this declaration of no sex, especially as we see in the past, like Katie Thurston, Peter Weber. I wonder if it affects who he takes to Fantasy Suites because, some people in the past have taken maybe contestants that they're particularly attracted to specifically for the Fantasy Suite element, right? And so I wonder if this is giving him a little bit more of a clear head, taking that off of the table. I don't know. My personal opinion, I think you got to test drive a car before you get engaged. But, that's just me. Kayla, what do you think? Do you think this will affect his decision of who gets to these Fantasy Suite dates?
Yeah, from my perspective, I think it seems like they're already there at the Fantasy Suite location. So whoever he's decided to take, he's deciding to take. And, I don't know. But at the same time, I see your point because, he probably had this in mind before he even got to Fantasy. Probably when he became the Bachelor, he was like, I'm not going to sleep with anyone in the Fantasy Suites, which in my opinion, I don't think that's a bad idea because I think, this is the time to have all the conversations that you can't have necessarily on camera, that you might not want to have on camera. So to take that off of the table isn't unwise. I think it is a benefit to making sure you really, hit all the points and talk through everything. You do got to test drive a car, but, make sure that you can at least agree on a lot of things in life and are really compatible fully before, you decide to propose to someone. So, but again, we'll have to see if he's able to hold up his end of the bargain on that because I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I totally get that. Do I think he will succeed? No. We will have to find out. Let's watch the rest of the trailer.
You are going to be tempted.
I'm ready to take that next step.
This is an act of love, not love.
So he fails. I think he fails with Katie. He's not making, he is making love, not lust, in that last thing he says. Caleb, what do you think happens? Who Who is it? What happens?
Yeah.
What's gonna happen?
Well,
I'm just so into this right now.
yeah, I mean, I'm curious why you think it's Katie actually before I respond.
I think that might be her. And even if not, I think we see even in the more mid preview, the one we saw before, he like it's
Mhm.
apology. I don't know. They have seemed to have a tense conversation that I thought was maybe them
Okay.
saying, "Oh, we did something that we shouldn't have." That's the vibe I got from it. So I'm trying to connect those two
Mm,
things. It could be completely out there, but
okay.
also
Okay.
just the way he's been with Katie, they've already had kind of an overnight, right? That they were able to do things.
Yeah.
So technically, this is their second fantasy suite, so
Oh, you
maybe
think
it's beating
something
the
happened.
system.
Curious. Okay, interesting, interesting. So I have a different take. I also
Okay.
remember that, mid-season type of trailer with the clip you mentioned about Katie, and I actually think that maybe my prediction is that Ariel goes into hometowns with Katie, and I think it's gonna be Gabby over Charity. Um, and I think that Ariel and him have had to me way more of like the sexual kind of and making out in the hot tubs, and he seems super attracted to
Mhm.
her. So I think maybe something happens with Ariel that he is insisting it's not lust, it's love. Maybe he has to tell Katie about it, and Katie it gets upset or emotional because let's also remember how throughout this season Zach has been so like overly vocal about his feelings for everyone in that making them kind of feel like they're the one. I think it's going to be really hard for him to break up with anyone, but also for them to come to grips with, wait, it's not just me that I think he might not fall into what Clayton did at all. I'm not saying that. But, I don't know. I think, yeah, if you catch my drift, that's kind of my take on this. I think it's Ariel. He has to kind of apologize to Katie and gonna be messy. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because me and my sister did say like he's so good at validating these women and just making them feel like they're the only
Yes,
ones in the
validating.
world,
Yeah.
and that might bite
Mhm.
him in the rear end towards these last few weeks
Yeah.
because I think he almost hyped them up too much when he
Exactly.
probably should have. It's almost like, people saying I love you to more than one. He's not saying that L word, but he's really doing everything
Mhm.
but to me when I'm watching it, which makes him feel good in the moment and it's worked for him so far.
Mhm.
But I really think that is going to start to turn. Let's take a look to see what else happens.
I just feel really. I don't want to like shut down or like close off. I don't want to cry. I just like want to leave.
I could lose one of them.
This is where it gets
Hmm.
confusing because
Yeah.
there's a lot of
Why is
girls
this in the
here, and this
fantasy
is a
suite clip?
fantasy suite
Yeah.
promo. Kayla, you're so good at these promos and catching. Like, what is happening? I need
Yeah.
help.
I mean, this is I see Gabby, I see Charity, I see Ariel,
Yeah, which
Kat, and
is what we
Brooklyn.
we think she's gone, right?
Yeah, I see 5 girls here. So I'm guessing Greer is already gone. I don't. Yeah, this is probably in Budapest. So um, yeah, I'm thinking
There's a
that this is not that even the hotel. It's not giving. Yeah, it's not giving tropical. It's giving like European. So I'm thinking they just spliced a clip from this. This coming week to the fantasy suite. I don't know why they would do that, but I think it might have been
yeah,
just a little
it's
bit of a
very
mistake.
confusing.
Very confusing.
Yeah, so the timing on this is very odd because this is supposed to be a Fantasy Suites promo, and there's a lot of girls here. But if you look closely, they're
Mhm.
all hugging, but Charity seems to be in the middle and she seems upset. Are they is this a goodbye? What do you think, Kayla?
Interesting. Okay, so my vote is that it's not a goodbye. I'm remembering all my charity footage in my mind right now, sifting through it. I think I
Roll the
remember some
tapes.
clips of Charity. Right. I remember some clips of Charity wearing like black and hugging another girl and saying, "Why is this happening?" But then we see her in
Hmm.
this yellow outfit just prior, where I think she's at hometowns talking to a family member. It's kind of giving, talking to my mom about, the whole experience so far and being scared, whatever. So I think she still goes to hometown. So I'm guessing maybe something has happened back at home. She got a bad message. They're comforting her in that sense. because that's happened before, of course, on past seasons. So that's my guess because I'm just pretty sure that Charity is getting another date, and that date is her hometown. So yeah, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
weird though. This is a very weird clip.
Yeah, I think it's just the timing that throws us off. So I think this is showing us
Mhm.
that she does not make it to Fantasy Suites, in my personal opinion. But
Right.
we will see. I
Right.
do think she goes to hometowns. Maybe something does happen. Hopefully not. But I've always sensed that something
Mhm.
different is going to happen with her exit. And, we've talked about her with
Mm.
Bachelorette. And, you need a good story,
Yeah.
to get to that
You
point.
do.
So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. There is one last clip. Let's roll it.
It was a beautiful moment. Feels wrong.
So is that him
Interesting.
reacting to Charity leaving? I think so. What's your take on Zach's
Beautiful
reaction here?
moment. Well, the thing about this is it's an ITM, and ITMs can happen. They can splice it from anywhere, anytime, whenever they want. So it might not even be about Charity what he's talking about. Honestly, my brain went to a beautiful moment that was robbed. Feels to me like an intimate moment. Um, Maybe fantasy suite moment. Now we're back to the fantasy suite of it all. So but you're right. It could be Charity. It could be anything, like I was saying. So I think my vote is this maybe has something to do with, oh, this was love, not lust moment. Something happened. Maybe he had to explain it. I don't know. It's weird. This is like
It's
the Charity
it's
thing
a
is throwing me
weird
off for
promo.
sure. So it's a
Same.
weird
I mean,
promo.
I'm
They're
thinking-
splicing different stuff happening. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking we've gone back to Clayton season and kind of comparing it with the sex thing. And I'm wondering if Charity is kind of the Susie in this situation. Maybe she is upset and that's why she leaves, is because he has an
That is
intimate moment with one of these
interesting.
other girls. So, I mean, Charity
That
is
is an interesting
a
take.
stand-up lady. I love her, and I think she would really stand up for what she thinks is right or wrong, and maybe she feels wronged in that. So we have a little bit to go.
Yeah.
They gave us a little taste. We do have to wait a few weeks until we see what happens with these fantasy suites, but there's a whole story to go before then. So that is all we have to share with you. And before we go, be sure to leave in the comments, what do you think happens with this fantasy suites? It's not straightforward and we need to dish. Let's talk about it. And before then, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit on that little bell for notifications so you can be the very first to see our videos. Again, I'm Kayla Galloway here with Kayla Thompson, and our social handles are right here on the screen. And be sure to follow us and say hi. We would love to chat. And until next time, see ya.